Hey, what's up guys, the Strong Boys 19 here. This is going to be another 2015 review, and for this one it is going to be on the brand new studio album from Shinedown entitled Threat to Survival. So, Threat to Survival is the band's 5th studio album, and for those who don't know these guys, Shinedown are an alternative rock post-grunge type band from Florida, and the follow-up to this album is Amaryllis, and I remember that I really did like Amaryllis a lot. I think it did have some interesting hooks, some heavy type sounds, and some ballad sounds on some tracks, and I find that album to be one of Shinedown's best albums. A really promising, quite strong album. So, to be honest, I really don't think Shinedown are a guilty pleasure of mine. They are a band that I do like quite a bit. So this is a 3-year wait after the release of Amaryllis, and this is an album that is very, very different in terms of change of the band's music. And do I think that this is a really strong follow-up to Amaryllis? And unfortunately, guys, the way that I would describe this album is pretty much like how I expressed Megadeth's Super Collider. Even though a lot of people hate that album, but I don't really hate it as much as a lot of people do. It was just a really big, mediocre disaster, really. And that is just pretty much how I would express this album. Threat to Survival is a really big letdown, and you know, when it comes to some experimentation, if there's like some piece of music that is experimental, I would dig it if the music really grew my intentions of liking. I mean, I just cannot really accept every single thing that every artist or band can do for experimentation. I mean, I do love some changes in the music, like Bob Dylan changed his music, and also the Beatles and Pink Floyd and many other artists as well. But with other bands involving Shinedown, I have massive respect for trying out a new direction for what they would like to have. But for me, Threat to Survival is not really my cup of tea at all. The music on this album is barely anything like the previous albums, that is filled with the rock sound and with some of the material that they've had that are intriguing and quite catchy as well. This is more of like an electronic pop type of album, and it does have some rocky electric guitar sound to it by a few tracks, but the album by many tracks is just, from what I think, a lot of some really forced and poor songwriting on here. This is their shortest album as well. It's just 40 minutes and it has 11 tracks. And, you know, if you like this album, fair play. But for me, I just don't think this is a big return to form and as a great follow-up to Amaryllis. And it is just an album to me that is a really big change of plan to the music, and it can be really surprising for other people as well, but I really cannot get into this album by all the tracks on here. Some of the songs are okay, especially like the single Cut the Cord, which I do like. It does have like a catchy beat to it, and Oblivion I actually do like for a bit, and Black Cadillac is another song that I do like as well, but other tracks, they just don't really have that strong delivery as well. Brent's vocals on this album, I think that Brent can still sing. He did sound a little bit different on this album, but there is one gripe that I have from some points on some of these tracks. I hear auto-tune on a few of these songs, and I really hate auto-tune. And when I heard these auto-tune sounds on some of these vocals, it just did not really work out, and it's just not Shinedown that I'm very used to from when I used to like their previous stuff. I still like Shinedown to this day, but this is really their weakest effort. A lot of the songs on here just don't really go anywhere for me. They really don't have a lot of some great flavor for me to enjoy these songs. The songs State of My Head and It All Adds Up are the two worst songs that they've ever done, in my opinion. Like, towards the last chorus or around the bridge of those two tracks, I just immediately paused the tracks and I had to skip them and go to the next tracks because I couldn't finish them because I hated those songs. I mean, that's just what I think. Production wise of this album is quite good. The drum machine sound is a little bit too thin for my liking, and the rest of the instrumentation did sound quite good production wise, but it does have some good moments of some pretty catchy stuff, mainly from the songs I liked, Cut the Cord, Oblivion and Black Cadillac, but the rest of this album are just really mediocre and just a lot of filler, to be honest with you. So I don't know what you guys think, but you can let me know if you like or dislike this album in the comments below. And I've seen some quite positive reviews, which I don't really have a problem with. It's just anyone's opinion on this album, so this is how I would express Threat to Survival from Shinedown. And I really do wish Shinedown could try and make this album much more better next time with some more interesting stuff than this sound. So that's really all I've got to say about Threat to Survival by Shinedown. A really below average, mediocre mess with some bland, repetitive songwriting and with these songs that just don't really flow very well for me. In terms for an album rating, I'm going to give this album, I would say, a 4.5 out of 10. That's really my type of rating for this album. So, yeah. Thank you guys for watching, and I will keep you guys posted for more videos in the near future.